Hello. In today's quick Grok video, we'll look at searching in asset collections. If you're interested in searching across all of Edge, take a look at the video about Search the Edge. There's also a video about searching in an asset collection that uses taxonomy as an example. So searching works similarly across all asset collections, but today we will use as an example business glossary and a data asset collection. With this, let me switch to TopBraid Edge, and first we're going to go into a glossary. This is a procurement glossary. So let me first use this free text field to search, and I'm going to enter vendor. And you see there are three results, and it's obvious why the last two are appearing, but you may wonder why this one is appearing. This, when you use this field to search, it will search across all text fields in a glossary. And as you could see here in the definition, the word vendor is used. If we want to search specifically on a particular field, such as a label or alternative label, then we will choose it as our search criteria. So for example, let me pick alternative label, and I could search for some string, but I could also use some other type of search qualifiers. For example, find only those that have some value in the alternative label, and that narrows it down. Or I could do min-max number of values. So for example, find only those that have more than 2 alternative labels. Now you could use this type of search by just sorting as well, picking a column, alternative label column, and then when you sort on it, then you see all terms that have some alternative labels, and then all terms that do not have alternative label. The difference here is that when you're using filtering on the top row of the table, you're filtering within whatever is loaded into the table. And if you have lots of data, maybe thousands of glossary terms, you may not have all of them loaded. And the search that you run using filter selected here will search over all data, whether it's been loaded into the table or not. You could also use OR here. For example, let's say alternative label is supplier or ID. And you see the results that I got. You could also combine criteria. So for example, let me search on the alternative label supplier, and then I pick another field such as data required for business activity and say required for accounting, and that narrowed it down to 1. What you could do with the results that I displayed: first, you could export them, and there are a variety of export options. You could also print them. If you want to know how the query looks like that found those results, you could click on Display Query, and that will send you into the GraphQL panel. GraphQL panel and how you could work with it, shown in a demo about searching within taxonomy. If you're interested, please take a look at it. And then you could also have a number of other options. So if you pick at least one of the results, you could delete the selected results, you could add them to the list of the results, you could edit them as a group. In this case, I just have one result, but if there are multiple results, I could edit all of them as a batch edit in one step. And then there's also a way to show them on a map results panel, and that works if there is some geographic information associated with them, and you also need to have a mapping API enabled for that. So with this, let me switch to a data asset collection and show how search works there. Again, it works in a very similar way. And I am going to go to Northwind, which is a collection of information about the Northwind database, cataloging the tables in this database, views, columns, etc. One key difference here is that in the data asset collections, we have lots of different types of assets. In the glossary, everything is a term. So while there are subclasses of terms such as PII term, the kind of fields that you have for terms are the same regardless of the subclasses. In the data asset collection, there are a variety of different types of data assets, as you could see here in the navigator. And the kind of properties each of them has differs depending on the type of the asset. So for example, if I pick database column as my point of focus, I will have properties available for selection that are specific to the database columns. So for example, total number of values, last profile, distinct value count, whether it's data quality information, etc. Maps to term. These are all fields that are specific to them, to the database columns. So let me pick one of them to search on. So for example, column O. And this is a relationship. So here the search will be autocomplete. And I could find all columns that belong to a specific table. So other than that, the search works exactly the same as I showed in the glossary. And again, you have the same type of options available to you. When you define a search that maybe has a number of criteria or some kind of a search that you run frequently, let's say all data elements that are critical business elements. If this is a search that you will be running more than once, you may want to save it and give it a name. And this is a button that lets you save your current search. And you could set it as a default, which means that every time you come to this asset collection, that's how your results table will look like. Or you could give it some name and then save it under that name. And then it goes to the library of saved searches that you could always bring back. So this completes our short overview of search capabilities. Thank you for watching.